Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a really tangled situation. It's where entertainment, nationalism, and frankly, big business are all crashing into each other. And right in the middle, actor-singer Diljit Dosanjh and his role in the huge patriotic film Border 2.
Yeah, and our mission today, if you like, is to unpack how all these things, the geopolitics, this intense nationalist feeling and some serious financial risk, are creating what we're calling deliberate ambiguity.
Deliberate ambiguity, I like that. So it's not just confusion.
No, it feels more like a strategy, a kind of strategic fog to buy time, see how people react.
Okay, so Border 2 is in the main stage now, but what actually lit the fuse here? Because it wasn't the Border 2 casting initially, right?
Exactly. The trigger, the real flashpoint, was Diljit's Punjabi film, Sardar G3. Specifically because it features a Pakistani actress, Hania Amir.
Oh, yeah.
And the timing, you see, was just terrible. The trailer dropped June 22nd, 2025. The overseas release was set for June 27th.
Right, when things were really tense.
Precisely. It landed right after the Pahalgam terror attack back in April, and then India's big counter-operation, Operation Sindoor, in May.
And the government was involved too, weren't they? Blocking social media, telling streaming platforms.
Yeah, advising them to pull Pakistani content. So the whole atmosphere was extremely charged.
So how did Diljit respond when this all blew up? What was his side of it?
Well, his team quickly pointed out that Sardar G3 was actually shot way back in February 2025, well before things escalated recently.
Okay, so pre-controversy filming.
Right. And he basically argued, look, this is a professional obligation. Producers invested a lot, and they chose an overseas-only release specifically to try and avoid this kind of domestic backlash while still, recouping some costs.
So it's his professional duty versus what critics are calling, like, a lack of patriotic duty.
That's the core conflict right there, a real disconnect in perspective.
Okay, this is where, for me, it gets really wild. The media reports about Border 2. They're completely contradictory.
Oh, totally.
You've got one narrative saying he's out, done. Apparently only, 3 or 4 scenes filmed? Easy to replace him, maybe with Amy Verk, they said.
Right, and then on the other hand, you hear completely different sources claiming, get this, 40 to 50% of the film is already in the can.
50%, that's huge.
Exactly. Which would make replacing him, logistically a nightmare and incredibly expensive.
So those numbers, 3-4 scenes versus 40-50%, that can't both be right. It feels deliberate, like you said. Information warfare, almost.
It strongly suggests a deliberate campaign, yeah. And look at the producer's T-Series, JP Films. They've been strategically silent.
Not saying anything official.
Nope. And I don't think it's indecision. It's more like calculated crisis management. Let's wait, see how the public reacts, figure out the financial damage before we commit either way.
Okay, but someone is pushing this hard. The Federation of Western India Cine Employees, FWICE, they seem to be really driving the pressure campaign. Yeah. What's their angle?
Oh, FWICE went in strong, really aggressive. They put out a formal boycott notice against Diljit.
Wow, okay.
Sent these strongly worded letters, not just to the Border 2 producers and the director, but even tried to get Sunny Deol, the main star, to distance himself.
They didn't stop there, did they? They went higher up.
Much higher. They escalated it right to the top appeals to the Prime Minister's office, the Defense Minister, the Home Minister.
Asking them to do what?
To actually revoke the permission Border 2 had to film at the National Defense Academy in Pune. That's a serious move.
Yeah, that's major.
Yeah.
How does an industry body, a union effectively, get that kind of political pull?
Well, their power really comes from mobilizing sentiment, both public and within the industry. There's always that sort of implicit threat. If you don't listen, maybe our members won't cooperate on future projects. In this particular case, it feels like a dangerous step up. They're extending boycotts from just domestic stuff to targeting an Indian artist's work overseas. That sets a really tricky precedent, for artistic freedom, for who calls the shots.
Right. So it really boils down to a massive headache for the Border 2 producers now. A purely business calculation almost.
Absolutely. It's cold, hard math at this point. Wow. They have to weigh the guaranteed high cost of reshoots, which, if that 40-50% figure is true, could be astronomical, maybe 100 crore or more.
Wow.
Against the unpredictable but potentially devastating hit at the box office if this boycott campaign really takes hold.
Especially for a patriotic film. That genre depends so much on national feeling. Like Yuri or the Kashmir Files.
Exactly. A boycott could be fatal for a film like Border 2. So whatever happens here, it's going to send ripples through the industry. It really tests the limits of artistic freedom versus union power and whether cross-border collaborations are even viable anymore in this climate.
So the big question we leave you with is,
Hmm.
how does an entire entertainment industry even begin to navigate these intense political pressures, this nationalist fervor, while still trying to hang on to some creative control and, let's face it, make money? Something to think about.
Yeah, what really stands out to you in all this complexity?